Okay, that's better. I was just pointing at the wrong camera there. My background over this way is a bit messy, so I'm working through this camera today. So hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Wet Wisdom Transmissions Gathering. It's going to be a kind of a special episode today, as I'm just going to be bringing in Adronis just for questions. Okay, so we're not doing an Adronis transmission officially today. In a way we are, but just through Q&A. So again, I'll be looking forward to your questions here very shortly. After our Q&A today, because we're going to spend a little bit more time with Q&A, then we're going to go into a group healing meditation as well too, okay? Or I'd say just a group healing exercise and just working on any particular areas that we want to help clear. So first and foremost, before we get started, we'll just go ahead and start off with some announcements, and we'll start that right now.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, AetherX.co.
Okay, and more of our announcements. Okay, so with AetherX, we do have a 20% discount off right now. We also have 25% off the Orgonite pyramids. Okay, so I just got a new batch of Orgonite pyramids right here. I was only able to get 2 out of the 3 usual styles I get. The other, the supplier did not have the 3rd style. So 2 of these 3 styles are now in. But again, you can get 25% off the Universal Orgonite Pyramid Array. And everything else here is 20% off. Okay, so here's the new Rainbow 100% Cotton Source Charge T-shirt. Okay, these really feel amazing. It's kind of like you're wearing a miniature version of RAYD8 on your chest. It feels really, really amazing. I love it. I reserved one for myself. I'm extra large. So we have quite a few in stock right now. So we have them from extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, and 2XL. So you can check that out. That is also available on AetherX.co right now. And again, you'll get 20% off. Okay, and here we are with RAYD8, the RAYD8 app. So again, it's RAYD8app.com. Again, I'm getting some really great feedback about RAYD8. People are really seeing a difference just using whether it's the free version or whether it's the premium version. I'm getting quite a few testimonials from people, and I'm just working to still get some up here. But hopefully should get more up here later on. Just, again, kind of pulled in like 20 different directions right now. But again, you can check out the website here. You can find out more about RAYD8. And again, you can get it on the Apple Store or on Google Play. Okay, so you can get RAYD8app.com on either of those platforms and check it out. And of course, we have RAYD8 REGEN Centers. I made the announcement not too long ago. Affiliate who's going to be using the RAYD8 REGEN technology. It's in, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Okay. We have a few other people. I'm actually just going to start creating their little certificates here and putting it up here later on. We have another one from New Zealand. We have another one from Australia. We have another one from Israel. We have another one from New York. We have another one from Colorado. We have another one from Vancouver Island. So we have quite a few regen centers that are in development right now. So if you guys want to be part of this growing regen center phenomenon that's taking place, then all you have to do is just go to license RAYD8 REGEN. Like I said, our rates for licensing is extremely affordable, one of the most affordable rates online relating to bioscalar and biomagnetic light and natural frequency technology that RAYD8 itself is. So check that out. Again, if you're in the Lower Mainland area, if you're in Langley, BC, okay, so again here, I just kind of created this little quick menu. And if you're in Langley, BC, you can find us here. This is, again, the center that is in my home. And you can book a free 1-hour immersive session for first-time clients. So I'm starting to get quite a few clients coming in, and they're really enjoying the RAYD8 REGEN technology. In the lower suite, I have a healing center with the RAYD8 REGEN technology, basically a 16-screen setup altogether. There's 8 screens in one room, and then there's 8 screens in another room. So altogether, 16 screen displays of an array. And it's a powerful, amazing experience. Like I said, if you guys love the app, well, you haven't seen nothing yet, right? The app in that sense is the scaled down version. It's the minute version. When you come into RAYD8 REGEN, you're getting the full industrial strength power of the RAYD8 technology itself. So check that out as well too. Again, we're in Langley, BC. So if you're in the area, come say hi and book your 1 hour free session. Okay, and this is from my partner, Brienne. Brienne's going to be doing her first live webcast very soon, and she's going to be doing free readings through her webcast. I'll be keeping you guys updated with that. So looking forward to seeing that with her. But right now, she is doing tarot readings, Kundalini healing, QHHT, and Feng Shui. Okay, so of course, people in the local area with Lower Mainland, BC can book a QHHT with her. But again, you guys can do tarot readings with her. She is extremely accurate, right? I mean, very, very accurate. I'm not just saying that because I'm her partner, right? I've seen exactly what she can do, and she's extremely gifted with tarot readings. She has really found her calling in life. And, you know, if that's something that's happened with you guys, if you guys have found your calling in life, you know what I'm talking about, right? We want to support each other, that people who have found their calling in life. A lot of people have come to me and said, Brad, this is what I'm here to do. I'm doing this work. Okay, great. Count me in. I'd love to be one of your clients. And I'm always helping out people who have found their true calling in life. So I just ask everybody to do that, right? Follow where your heart leads you. And this is where her heart is leading her. So let's help out people who are following their heart, because I will certainly help you out if you're following yours. So again, you can check her out, or check her website out. It's readingswithbrienne.com. Check out her tarot, Kundalini healing. She does healing online as well too. And the good news is, with the RAYD8 browser app campaign, we have reached our goal. I just tuned into this morning. We're now at 5,153. So I'm going to be concluding the browser app campaign this afternoon. So if you want to do any last minute donation, best to get it in quickly, because this afternoon I'm going to be closing the campaign because we've reached our goal. But this is also giving the opportunity if people want to still get the browser version for themselves or for another, as that is the perk benefit of the campaign. So again, you probably got a couple hours left before I close off the campaign, because we've reached our goal. And we're now going to start beginning the browser app development. Okay, and we should have that ready in about a month or so. Okay, I was basically talking to my development team about that yesterday. They said, yeah, we could probably have this ready in about a month's time. Great. So we're doing it. So like I said, I'm paying half, and everybody else who's the donors are paying half. And now we're putting this $10,000 project together. So again, thank you so much to all contributors, to all donators. I really appreciate it. It was wonderful. And now we've reached our goal. Like I said, we did it quite quickly too. We did this in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And we reached our goal, guys. That is amazing. So we are all going to enjoy the browser app. That is going to be amazing. So like I said, here we are in early April. So between early to mid-June, we should have the browser app ready. As I talked about, it is cross-compatible. Okay, so if you already have the premium version on your iPhone or on your Android, then you're going to be able to cross it over through the browser app campaign, because we'll have the same login functions for that as well too. So it's going to be amazing. Okay, so those are the announcements for today, and we're going to go ahead and get started with today's broadcast. So let me just go ahead and close these off. Okay, I'm just going to move this over here. There we go. Okay, that's better. All right. So again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. I'm looking forward to the questions that we have for today. Again, if you guys do have donation-based questions, that will put you in priority sequence. Otherwise, I'll just be going through the list. And again, we're live on both YouTube and Rumble. All right, so let's go to Life is Magic. Life is Magic has a donation-based question, so thank you very much. So Life is Magic asks, are fixed deposits still safe investment in next 1 year in Singapore banks? Principal not affected upon maturity. You know, Life is Magic, you're asking the wrong person about this. I do not have any financial experience, okay? I am not a financial consultant. I don't mind looking at this to get the idea of a certain trend that's happening. But guys, please don't ask me advanced financial questions, okay? I'm not a financial consultant. I'm not a financial advisor. Even on an intuitive level, my comprehension with trying to give you that particular type of answer is going to be very, very limited, right? So I would say try not to get too much into the deep financial stuff with me, because I'm not going to really give you the answer that you think you want, okay? So basically, I'll try and dissect your question just to try to make it a little bit more simple because we will work with the cards here. Are fixed deposits still safe investment in next year in Singapore banks? So we'll just ask that, okay? But principal and not effect upon maturity, I don't know. I've never been skilled with financial stuff. Anyways, we'll look into that and see if there's safe investment within the next year for Singapore banks. Okay, we'll take a look at that. So let's see what we got here. But yeah, guys, please avoid the financial stuff with me. I'm begging you. I'm just so not the guy to do that. It's best to look at a financial consultant, a financial advisor, maybe a financial guru who's on YouTube. Those are the guys you want to talk to about this. It's just not me. But we'll look into this question. We'll just try and keep it simple. Okay. So a fixed deposit still safe. Is still a safe investment within 1 year for Singapore banks. Okay. Let's see what we got here. The feeling I'm getting is no, they are not. Okay. I think that banks, perhaps in Singapore, are going to hit a pretty hard snag here. So, I mean, it's good that you want to invest, right? That you're maybe being a proud investor in that way. But the situation is saying, no, 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 no. Do not invest. Do not invest deposits in safe investments, okay? Because they're not safe. So my feeling is there's going to probably be some type of bank crisis that is going to be happening in Singapore. Again, I'm just reading Singapore right now. I can't say that that's for the entire world, right? But from what I've read before in the past, yes, banks are about to have their doomsday, so to speak, right? They're going to have their doomsday. They're going to have a lot of problems. And this is much more of a signposts-based question. But like I said, with wisdom transmissions, we can cover it. But usually what I would suggest is for questions like this, save it for signposts, right? Because it is current events. But yes, it does look like that Singapore is going to have some issues with their bank. Okay, so basically in that sense, we're kind of getting a warning sign here. You know, all right, everything right now is okay, but it may not be in the times ahead. You need to be careful, right? Conflict is abroad, and this is also what's happening right now. It just looks like a lot of these capital banks are about to fall apart. They're about to die out, right? It's not to say that they're not going to be overhauled. They are going to be reworked. They are going to be overhauled. They are going to be reinstituted in a certain way. But the current banks as they exist would probably not be the best idea to invest, right? Really what this is saying is that find alternate routes. Maybe just look into other forms of savings in that way, that maybe that doesn't rely upon central banks in that way. Maybe it's just the idea of keeping a vault or a safe, right? And having your funds kept there and safe, right? But from what I can tell here from this reading, it is not a good idea to invest right now in fixed deposits within this year for Singapore banks, okay? So not a good idea. That's what I'm getting from the reading. Okay, again, I can't really elaborate any further. I just don't have that financial killer instinct to me to give you that financial advice because I'm not a financial advisor. So that's what I can share just in regards to the momentum of what the cards are showing. Okay, thank you very much. Life is magic. All right, let's go to another donation here. Okay, I have one from Emma, but Emma, I don't think I see a question from you. Okay. So again, guys, if you want to make sure that if you are donating, that's great. And if you just want to donate for the heck of it and say thank you, well, thank you for that as well, too. Just remember to put your question in with your donation if the event that you do have a question, okay? I think that's it for donations. Yeah, we have one here from Vanan Nugan, so thank you for that as well, too. But again, I'm not seeing any questions with you guys, but thank you for the donations. I appreciate that. Okay, let's go to Basley Mass. This one is from Rumble. Okay, so Basley Mass says, hi, Brad, could you please have Adronis comment on what we should be doing if we got the jabs? I've been seeing some scary stuff about these new white blood clots being discovered by morticians. That's really not something you need to concern about because, again, like I said, there's a lot more fear propaganda happening online where people are concerning about jabs. The good news, guys, is that a lot of people were actually, when they did get jabs, were actually getting the saline. Right, they were getting saltwater jabs, many of them, okay? Not all. There were still some that were getting some of the toxic ones. But this is something I talked about quite extensively throughout 2021, 2022, and 2023. What I was getting a lot from the cards is that a lot of them were not as dangerous as people were making them out to be. In fact, if it was ones that were tremendously horrific and traumatizing and toxic, it was few and far between, right? There were a lot of undercover missions to basically take a lot of these dangerous vaccinations and basically halt them. If you guys noticed, around 2022 and 2023, a lot of freighters were basically just kept in the middle of the ocean. And that was purposeful because a lot of them were carrying vaccination supplies that were quite vicious, right? And so they were halted, and then they had a lot of special forces that would come in and they would seize a lot of these dangerous vaccinations, right? So I need to be kind of careful because I still am on YouTube here with this. It's fine on Rumble, but with YouTube, right, a lot of the pokes, right, were considered very, very dangerous, were the toxic ones. A lot of them had been confiscated, a lot of them had been infiltrated, and a lot of them had been prevented from going into the population. Now, Adronis is basically just going to tell you the same thing because he's come through and he's talked about this before, okay? I will bring him through here very shortly. But if you do have something relating to toxicity, if let's say, for example, that you did take one, or you know somebody who took one, and you know that they're having certain forms of symptoms in that way, one of the best things I could suggest is, number one, use RAYD8, okay? Because RAYD8 has that coating directly in it to help with repairing the body. Number two, you can work with the body deck, okay? The AetherX body deck cards, okay? That is on AetherX.co. You can either get the digital version or the printed version. And you want to basically work together with about two different cards. Number one, heavy metal eliminator. Number two, biotoxin eliminator, okay? The good news is that those are also ingrained with RAYD8, okay? So RAYD8 also helps those who have been jabbed, who have had toxic effects, right? So that's the benefit of RAYD8. So you'll get that in the free version and in the premium version as well, too. They both have those qualities to help the body. Now, of course, the premium version will help a lot more, but the free version also has some of the coatings that helps with people that are getting the toxins out of their body, okay? So anyways, I will bring Adronis in, and he can talk a little bit more about the jab situation, as some people are, again, concerning about white blood clots being discovered by morticians, okay? Again, guys, we need a little bit more factual information about that, right? One person hears that and they think that that's what every mortician is speaking about. This is why I say, guys, you've got to be careful hearing what you hear online, okay? 90 to 95% is exaggerated disinformation, okay? One mortician may say something like this, and then you think that every mortician is finding it. And then again, what happens is this goes into the clutter circle, right? And everybody just starts talking, oh yeah, well, this mortician finds it, white blood clots, and et cetera, right? And then they think it's a widespread thing, when in fact it may just be, like I said, few and far in between, okay? Because like I said, a majority of those toxic pokes were confiscated. And I talked about this quite extensively going back the past couple of years, right? It's exactly why we had big freighters in the middle of the ocean just staying there, and they had supplies, all these vaccinations, and a lot of them were confiscated and destroyed, okay? So anyways, I will go ahead and bring Adronis in, and he'll talk a little bit more about what we should do if these jabs are toxic that either we have or someone we know has, okay? Here we go. Terra. Soul Star. Sirius. Adronis we are here at this time. We bid you greetings and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning into this broadcast being brought forward through your internet collective consciousness. We want to thank you again for all of your questions today, and we received the question in regards to what you would term as your toxic inoculations. And if by chance, Adronis, that I do have something like this, that I did receive such an inoculation, and I have discovered that it is quite toxic within my body, what is it that I should do? Well, here's something that you may, in that sense, appreciate. There are what we have termed as intervention fleets. Do many of you remember what we have talked about with this? The idea of intervention fleets can be available to assist in reversing any particular form of toxic situation that has been brought forward through such a vaccination. So if you are noticing that you have taken something like that, and you are noticing that your symptoms are becoming quite severe, you would call down the intervention fleets to assist, and they will assist through sincerity. There needs to be that sincerity. There needs to be that call. Do you remember what the call sign is for the intervention fleets? This is the call sign. So what you are doing is you are going into meditation. You are aligning yourself calmly and just being able to create this symbol. So again, holding up your left hand, having what you would term as a 2/3 of a triangle with a slash over it. And you're simply holding that up, and you are stating your intention through the call sign. I have received this particular inoculation. I have been very unwell. I am uncertain how to help myself. I ask the intervention fleets to intervene, to assist, and to help remedy this situation, as I am uncertain how to resolve this. And sometime, at some point, this will take place. Again, the stars will align. So the whole idea here is that is one particular idea, that there are intervention fleets that are on standby that are able to assist many of you. If you are noticing that you have had certain forms of toxicity within the body, you are performing that call sign. Once again, we ask you all to do this with us now. Hold up your left hand. Seeing again 2/3 of a triangle. Take your right hand. Put the slash over the triangle. And this is what represents the call sign to the intervention fleets. We have had quite a few calls from many of you throughout the past. Whether it represents the idea again of sickness, of illness, of implant removal as well too. And that this itself is also an acceptable means. The call sign itself will be received. We will intercept your transmission. And based upon the sincerity, there will be action. Because believe us when we say that the intervention fleets will be scanning you to see if there is actually severity. If there is not severity, nothing will happen. You're basically in a state of health and wellness, and that this will pass. If it is actually something sincere, if it is actually something that is genuinely, shall we say, affecting your overall health, there will be intervention. If it's something that is not really damaging, you basically believe you have something when in fact you don't, nothing will happen. All right. This again is for sincere's sake, sincerity's sake. All right. Now, if you notice that another is basically receiving this, and again, you are uncertain what to do, you can put out a request for them. Now, again, what the intervention fleets primarily do is they work together in silence. They work together in secrecy. We are not attempting to make our presence outlandish. It is very, very, as you would say, nonchalant. So again, if you are noticing that there is another, perhaps a family member, perhaps a friend who is suffering greatly, and you believe that it does have to do with an inoculation, you can assist them in this way. They may not have this particular information, but you can therefore refer the idea, the call sign on their behalf, and they too shall be scanned. But again, Intervention will only take place if it is something that is genuinely sincere and genuinely, in that sense, threatening to your overall health. All right. So that is something that you can do through the intervention fleets, as we are here to assist and just helping you to, again, maintain an overall health so that you are here to do what you're here to do. The intervention fleets are always pleased to work together with the ground crew to which you are. We thank you very much. Okay. Thank you, Adronis. So there you go, guys. That is the intervention fleets. I've talked about the intervention fleets with Adronis for many years. They have come through. I've had all kinds of people who have come to me and dropped me emails and said, Brad, I called in the intervention fleets and I could feel like there was a laser that was coming in and I could feel like it was scanning me. I couldn't tell if this was a dream or if it was real. But whatever happened, there was like a laser scan, and I woke up the next morning and my condition that I had, right? A person may have had like a heart murmurs or problems with their chest, if I recall, and it was all gone, right? So just certain things like that. I've had people contact me and saying that they've had experiences with the intervention fleets. So that is something that is available. It's something that's quite prominent throughout the entire star system. And some people may ask in that sense, well, what are the intervention fleets? Well, it's actually a mixture. It's a mixture of us and it's a mixture of others. It's kind of like joint alliances that are together on different, you could say like mother craft or motherships or spacecraft, or I'm not too sure what type of craft they occupy, but they're all around the star system and they are within the many thousands, at least, I would say, maybe hundreds of thousands. And they stand by and they work together with the ground crew, because a lot of people basically have what's known as stasis bodies. Okay, and I've also talked about stasis bodies with Adronis quite extensively as well too. And so there are basically other bodies in suspended animation, and basically you could say the living soul projects itself from that body and then starts to incarnate into a body here on the planet. And they will have those particular types of contacts with them, representing their partners in crime beyond the earth. And we can often term these as the intervention fleets. So that is something that, again, Vastly Mass, if you are concerned about, if you or your family members have something of that problem, then again, you guys need to remember this call sign. Okay, I've been talking about this for many years. This is not something new. Okay. This has been something I've probably been going back like maybe 2014, talking about the intervention fleet. So I've been talking about it for about the past 10 years, right? This is all you got to do. And you're going into meditation, right? So we know how to go into meditation properly, right, guys? Okay. What do? Okay, we work to go into the parasympathetic. So again, you get yourself relaxed. You keep your spine nice and straight. You start breathing in through the nose for 4 seconds, breathing out through the nose for 6 seconds. Repeat. Repeat, 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 repeat. Okay. You continue to do that until you start feeling much more at ease, much more calm and centered. You may feel that kind of light buzzing in your body as well too. Once you're feeling that calm and easement and tranquility that's coming through you, because you're going into the parasympathetic, because you're stimulating the dorsovagal complex, because you're stimulating the vagus nerve, because you're relaxing yourself and you're working yourself into a state of calmness, the call sign comes in. Okay. You are only to do the call sign if there is great sincerity behind it. If you're just doing this to mess around, nothing will happen. Okay. This needs to be great sincerity, great seriousness with this. If it's regarding yourself or if it's regarding somebody else, like I said, you're doing this kind of as a almost like a last ditch effort, because you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's happening. You haven't been able to resolve this by yourself and you need help. That's where that comes in. Okay, so it's kind of like the last resort. But like I said, make sure you're sincere, because if you're not, nothing's going to happen to you. Okay, and like I said, they will scan to make sure everything's fine. And if basically they're saying, oh, this is probably just a common illness that they're getting and it will pass, nothing will happen. Okay, only if it's something that basically threatens your health overall will the intervention fleets come in. Because I've talked about this before, and that's a very important message. People are just doing it for the fun of it, right? You don't do that. Okay, this needs to have sincerity to it. This is basically, again, if there's something that's threatening your health overall, there certainly will be intervention. Okay, just reminding you of that. It's very important. Okay, let's go down the list here further. Okay. Okay, here's one from Bebito7. Bebito says, question for Adronis. Could you explain who Lucifer really is and what is his connection to Earth, what his connection to Earth is? I've heard that he's actually a higher dimensional archangel. Okay, so we will look a little bit more into Lucifer. Okay, one moment. We thank you very much, Babito7, regarding your question as to the alias that is referred to the being known as Lucifer. Well, here's something very important you need to understand. Lucifer and Satan are not the same. All right? Lucifer has nothing to do with Satan at all. And anyone that tells you that that is the case has basically fallen for a propaganda story based on perversion. Because that's not the idea. Really, when you look at it, Lucifer represents every single one of you. One who is of the light, one who stands proudly in the light of the divine and decides to descend into the lower realms, to therefore give up their own placement in the higher dimensions, and bringing themselves into the physical space to again help themselves to regain the realization and purity of that light that they once held. So Lucifer is the story of humanity. That's the idea. Because so many of you come from divine kingdoms. So many of you come from divine domains, divine heavenly realms, higher realms of consciousness. And you hear the call. You hear the call with the earth, and you give up that space, and you descend down, and you incarnate here into the flesh, and you offer your assistance. You help others out while also helping out yourself. You are moving yourself into the greater, shall we say, illumination of what that light truly means. You are repurifying yourself into the nature of the light. And that is what Lucifer represents. Lucifer is much more feminine than masculine. All right? Many of you are referring to Lucifer as masculine. That's not really the case. Lucifer is much more of a feminine energy. All right? What is your morning and night sky? Your morning and evening star? Your morning and evening star would represent the idea of Venus, otherwise referred to as Lucifer. Yes? Even your own Saturn planet, at some particular point in your ancient past, was also referred to as Lucifer because it was once a sun. So Lucifer, again representing the morning and the evening star, hence Venus, once representing in your ancient past where Saturn was once a sun, representing Lucifer. Lucifer is the light bearer. Has nothing to do with demonics. That is the complete and total opposite of Lucifer. So when you are looking at satanic energies, that would be something that would represent the idea of deep materialism, of greed, of corruption, of everything that represents the wanting and greediness of the material plane. That's not what Lucifer represents at all. Lucifer is much more of the story of humanity. It is the story of humanity, embodied into a being known as Lucifer, the bearer of light, who gave up her position in the higher planes to descend here and to assist in the repurification of her own light, to which represents humanity itself. That is what we can share pertaining to the nature of Lucifer. It is not what you would term as Satan. Lucifer is the idea of yourselves coming into your own light, purifying yourselves into the light through the conflicts that you have gone, helping you to move from the left side hemisphere to the right side hemisphere, bringing yourselves much more into your, not just say angelic properties, but your godliness. Returning to your godliness through the love, through the compassion, through the heart that blazes this pure light, which only you need to do is follow it. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay. Thank you, Babito, for your question. Hope that answers your question. Okay, let's go down the list here a little bit more. Okay. Okay, this is just a comment, but I'll share some information on it too. Charlene says, all banks will crash before we reset. The beginning is near. Yes, and that's basically what we're seeing here, is that you're going to see that there really isn't going to be more bank bailouts anymore. I think that time has passed. We've certainly been seeing a lot of those bank bailouts going back decades, but I feel we're really at the tail end of that. You're going to be seeing, again, a lot of them collapse, a lot of them plummet, right? So this is kind of like the intense transitional period that we're going through right now, and we can certainly see it, right? We can see it especially through 2024 beginning, right? There is a lot of transition, but in a way, that's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing to see because, again, it's letting us know that change is so incredibly powerful that everything that is trying to withhold that change is falling apart because they've tried to develop systems that are trying to actually bottleneck these particular forms of changing events that are taking place where people are now starting to see the truth a lot more. There has been so many safeguards in place trying to prevent a lot of the information that has been coming out, and then they can't do it, right? It's just those walls are falling apart. We're seeing the corruption everywhere. We are seeing everything that represents falsity and ego clash, right? And people are basically trying to sort out what is truth from what is ego, and that's purposeful, my friends, right? It is absolutely purposeful. This is why I say you can't really find the truth through an external means. You can't find it through an expert. You can't find it through a teacher. You can't find it through a guide. You can't find it through a family member. You can't find it through a friend, right? You can't find it through those means. Those avenues are not going to happen. There's just too much contamination on the outside. And how do you find the truth? You go in here, right? That's what this is all about. Whenever I share this information, guys, I'm not tearing up piles and piles of books. I'm not going onto internet websites and looking at all these things. And oh, this is what they're saying, and this is what I'll say. There's none of that, right? It really just comes from the heart. Sometimes I may talk about something, then I'll find something similar to what I'm talking about. So, okay, that's great. That's a nice little commonality right there. But this is what you have to do, right? Everything on the outside right now is so cross-contaminated, right? You're feeling like, okay, there's some genuine information, and then it's being slopped on with a big pile of manure, right? So you got manure on top of the light, so to speak, with these illuminated teachings. And then there's a lot of perversion coming around, and that's deliberate. This is their sabotage ploy, is to keeping you so confused to question what is truth from what is ego, what is truth from what is falsehood. Okay, and that's all part of their campaign, is that a lot of these news agencies and a lot of these inner agencies within inner agencies are basically just attempting to cook up stories and just get you doubting about, I don't even know what's truth anymore. You're right. You're not going to ever find truth outside of yourself. And this is why it is an impossible and pointless endeavor. And the only way you're ever going to find truth is by going in here. Okay? And I know you probably have heard some teachers say that. Well, they're right. They're 100% correct about that because I have actually lived that, where I'm looking in here for truth. If I'm not too sure of something, guess what I do? I don't go to my books. I lay down, or I sit down, I go into meditation, I clear my mind, and I go within. And the answer comes, right? And if I feel that that is an answer that is good to share with others, I will come on here like this on a webcast and share that with you, okay? And just as, again, Charlene has said, and those are one of the things, like I've looked into how things are going with the world. And so while you're going to see banks collapse, you're going to see financial institutions cave in, right? You're going to see political leaders becoming exposed because they are fraudulent, they are devious. You're going to see all of their deeds being put directly in front of you, and they will try to deny and deny and deny until the misdeeds become so incredibly grand that it's impossible for them to deny anymore, and they're going to try and run, but they won't. They basically get caught, right? And that's what you're going to see with pretty much every corrupt world leader on the planet. Their skeletons in their closet is going to be so incredibly vast that they will run out of lies to defend themselves. What they often do is they gaslight. They will gaslight everybody. They will gaslight, oh, this person's crazy and they don't know what they're talking about, and they may have mental issues, and we don't do that. Or they basically will try to bring up their skeletons in the closet for a person that is accusing them of certain things. Oh yeah, well, where were they when this happened? Where were they when this? This is their pathetic ploy. Okay, you are going to find so many corrupt world leaders do that. They are going to gaslight because that is their defense mechanism. That is what they've been trained to do through a lot of these despicable programs that they've been raised into, right? They basically have classes to how to gaslight people, right? It's not very hard, right? All you have to do is just look at that person and say, oh yeah, well, what about what they did 10 years ago? What about what they did in this? Or they're ignoring the true issue here about us working with the Ukraine, or they're ignoring the pure issue about what we're going to do for democracy, right? And they switch gears. That's gaslighting, right? You are going to find that with pretty much every corrupt world leader on the planet. They will gaslight. They will deny. They will spread fear. They will lie. They will lie through their teeth. And you can just look at them and say, this guy is really not going to last that much longer, right? They're on the verge of just teetering over, and they're finished, right? The same thing with institutions too. Institutions that are also getting accusations, and they will gaslight. And then it's a ticking time bomb. They're on borrowed time, right? And that clock ticks. The clock strikes 12. It's all finished, right? And that's what you're seeing right now. Don't worry about getting too worked up because they gaslight. When you see a guy, a girl gaslighting, right? A leader gaslighting, they're finished. They're done. Okay, basically you're just looking at the watch and say, okay, they're on borrowed time right now. Tick, 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 tick. Right? And it's actually kind of a good thing. Oh yeah, they're gaslighting, so they're finished. They're done. It's just a matter of time. It's a ticking time bomb ready to go off. And there's going to be more and more pounds, because what that does is that causes the opposing forces that are accusing them to even bring about more and more. It's like a Mount Everest of accusations, and they're just going to be buried in it. And like I said, gaslighting only takes you so far. And what they don't realize is the more that they gaslight, the more that they're just digging a grave for themselves. And that goes the same with agencies, corporations, institutions, etc. The more they gaslight, the more they deny, the more they spread fear, they're just creating a gigantic Mount Everest of accusations that are going to come upon them, where dissolvement is imminent. And you're just looking at the time, right? So that's something very important to look at. Like I said, we're seeing that with so many people nowadays, with Canadian prime ministers and American presidents and institutions and big corp and all that, right? It's going to be accusations out the wazoo. And like I said, they're on borrowed time. The clock strikes 12. They're finished. And that is exactly what's going to happen. Either their entire infrastructure becomes overhauled and made into something completely new, or they get completely demolished and something else takes its place. That's really what it is. And this is why I say that 2024 is the year of overhaul, because we're seeing a lot of overhaul situations this year. Okay. All right. So again, thank you, Charlene, for that comment. Okay. Samara has an interesting question here. Hey, brother, how can one learn channeling? That's not something that's like me saying, hey, my friend, how can one learn to speak the German language? How can one learn to speak the French language? Okay. You go to a teacher and you learn the nature of language. Channeling is a language, right? Channeling is something that you need to develop yourself. It's not something you just go in through a weekend course and say, oh, guys, I know how to channel now. Guys, I've been doing it now for nearly 16 years, and I'm still learning, okay? It's not something that you just pick up in a crash course and thinking all of a sudden you're a channeler, okay? It's something that you have to have as a lifestyle. This is something that you are. You're not just tuning into it because you're curious about it, okay? That's like a person in that sense who's learning how to box, right? And they really want to go far, but they don't want to put in the work, right? Well, you're not going to be able to get to that level of boxing. You're not going to get to that level of painting. You're not going to get to that level of architecture. You're not going to get to that level of athleticism, right? You want to be an athlete in that way. It's the same thing. You want to learn how to channel. You want to basically learn to tune into yourself and receive that knowledge. Well, that's the first step. Okay, you have to be willing to accept yourself as being the vessel of this divine knowledge. If you don't see yourself as a vessel of divine knowledge, you have a lot of trouble with that. Okay, first of all, what you need to do is be confident in your own ability to notice when your intuition is speaking to you. Okay, that's the first step, and that's certainly what I had to go through. Right, I had to constantly listen to what my inner guidance was telling me. Of course, was go deeper into your intuition, go deeper into yourself, trust what you are receiving, right, rather than doubting it, because all that's being shared here externally is what's coming from inside through this intuitive impulse, right? You have to trust that impulse, and if you don't, you're gonna have a heck of a time trying to do this, right? But you're doing this because this is who you are. You're not doing it because, number one, I want to be up there with the top psychics of the world, and I want to just be able to know everything. It doesn't work that way, and that's pure egotism when you look at it that way. This is not about the idea of you trying to get recognition, of you trying to get fame, because basically what that does is that creates a particular type of materialistic vibration, and you're going to get a lot of deceitful messages, right? Because a lot of that's not going to be coming from your source. A lot of that's going to be coming through influences, right? And those influences are not going to be too pleasant. There is really a science behind the nature to channel, and I really don't even use that term anymore. I don't really call it channeling. It's just the idea in that sense of inner transmission, right? It's transmitting your divine source, right? That's why I gave up the channeling term a while ago. I'm still technically doing it, but I just don't use that term. It's something that's been, like many things, it's something that's been perverted, right? And unfortunately, 90 to 95% of channelers out there are not really reliable. Okay, very few actually have that true gift where they're actually tuning into their impulse and they're sharing that information. There's been times too where I've been shaken up as well too, because I get involved with certain things and I get skewed as well too. Right? You have to really learn to stay neutral and just stay attuned to your source. It can certainly happen. But that's no easy question to answer, Simon. Okay, how one can learn channeling? You have to go to a teacher. You have to go to a teacher, and you have to learn. You got to devote yourself, and you got to dedicate yourself. Like I said, it's no more different than you want to be an architect, a boxer, a painter, an artist, an athlete, right? You need to dedicate yourself to the craft. You need to dedicate yourself to seeing yourself as that living divine vessel that is receiving that spark of divine knowledge within yourself, and you are transmitting it, right? So again, I refer to it as inner transmission rather than channeling. So that's the idea. Find a teacher. Am I available? Not really. No. I have a certain channeling course that you can take, right? It's channelingcourse.com. And that was an old teaching of mine. It's an old course of mine that's still available, I believe. But other than that, no, like I really just don't have time to offer that particular type of teaching. Closest thing you could get to it is if you're doing the AetherX Academy. Okay, if you're going to AetherXAcademy.com, right? That's my other academy. That's my current academy that I'm working with, and you're enrolling as a student. Okay, because I'm going to show you a lot more than just channeling. I'm going to show you more about working together with your energy body. I'm going to show you more about working together with healing yourself. I'm going to be showing you a lot more about resonant dowsing, using a particular skill set that will help you to identify and train yourself to work with intuition a lot more. That's exactly why I say, if you guys want to learn this, go to AetherXAcademy.com. Right? Go to the student training. The student training teaches you all of this. And it's a foundational training that's going to bring you into advanced training so that you learn to be a living spirit vessel. And it goes far beyond what you would understand channeling to be. You are being a vessel for spirit, and there's nothing greater than that. So again, if you guys are interested, AetherXAcademy.com. I think I have it here on my banners here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so AetherXAcademy.com, that is where I suggest you go. Like I said, I've done 6 months of training with my previous class, so there's a lot of content on the Academy. It is $77 a month for 6 months. After those 6 months, all the content material on the site for the student training is yours without any further payment, okay? So you're just paying for the 6 months. That's the price of the course. After that, the course is all yours, okay? So check that out, AetherXAcademy.com. Like I said, it's kind of on-demand training right now, whereas I'm basically going to be coming in on a monthly basis to work together with everybody. But all of the content that you're finding in the curriculum is with me, right? And just teaching you everything pertaining to being a student, to working again with understanding the chakra network, the energy body, working together with your organs, developing yourself with resonant dowsing, learning how to clear your environment, right? Going into Kundalini Shaktipat, activating the chakra centers, working with the crown, moving into a full-out Kundalini experience. It's wild. It's amazing, okay? So check it out, AetherXAcademy.com, all right? All right, guys, and this Saturday, I'm doing an introduction class for the new students. So if you are a new student, be sure you participate this Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. You guys can still sign up. Like I said, there's really no closure window for it. You can sign up at any particular time. But if you want to work together with me, I'm only available for certain times. So it's good to sign up quickly for that. All right. Okay, let's go back to the questions. All right, here's one here from Sean, his donation-based question. All right, thank you, Sean. Sean says, what is the reason for male infant circumcision? Most of us accept this practice as if males are inherently defective. The practice seems heinous. There is no purpose for it other than the idea of trying to harness infant energy. It's a sexual energy practice. It's basically utilizing that energy of the foreskin, and it's often used in magic rituals, right? There is no purpose for it, right? If we were meant to come onto this earth circumcised, it would have already been done, right? I was circumcised when I was little, right? I think I was only about a year old, and my mother made the decision to circumcise me, right? So I am one of those people. But when you're less than a year old, you don't really have say for that, right? But that's basically what it is. A lot of these circumcisions, like the whole idea of the foreskin is kept, right? And what they do with it, well, I don't really want to get into gritty details, but basically it is used for sexual practices. That's a sexual magic rites, right? They will often use that for sexual energy. They will basically use that for consumption as well too, because again, they're basically consuming infant energy, right? And that can basically help with youthening effects. That can help with sexual reproduction as well too. So there's a lot of deviousness that's behind that. So yeah, you would be correct with that. It's not a practice. It's a magic rite, right? It goes back into the idea of ancient magic rituals in that sense of using foreskins in that sense to basically enhance sexual energy, to bring about youthening effects within a body and so forth, using it for alchemy purposes. It's pretty sick. It's pretty gross, right? So that's really what's going on. It really just goes back into dark ritual, sexual energy rites or sexual rituals. Okay, that's what I can share about it without getting too much into the nitty gritty. Right? So you'd be right about that, Sean. Indeed, it's not necessary, but there you have it. Okay. Okay, so here's one from Vaughn. So Vaughn says, thanks, Brad and Adronis. I'll ask the intervention fleet to help my family members and myself who made compromise for the love of them. Okay, great. So you can always let me know how that goes with you, right? If you're doing that, and if you guys have something to share about that pertaining to the intervention fleets and something did take place, and you want to share it, you can always drop me an email. Be happy to share it in an upcoming episode as well. All right, let's move on here. This one here is from Laurie. Hello, Laurie. Laurie says, Adronis, I live in an area with large amount of drug addictions, and the children of these people are not being of help from the courts. What can we do to help protect these children? Okay, one moment. We thank you very much, Laurie, for your question. When you are noticing that your neighborhood is riddled with this particular type of behavior, again, we are not saying for you to go and get personally involved, because this can lead into, again, violence. This can lead into abuse on many different levels. What we would suggest is that you are being the healers for the background, which means that you are simply sitting within a space that is comfortable, that is private, where there will be no interruptions, and you're going deeper within yourself, very much to how Brad has already explained to you about going deeper into meditation. Yes? And what you are doing is you're calling down the light. What you are doing is you are seeing circumstances where these particular beings are being held. You are shining the light around them. You are shining the light around these areas of your town, of your city, that are contaminated with these particular types of energies. And you are bringing down the light. Now, it's not to say that you cannot have conversations. It's not to say that you may want to have conversations with others that are going through this. That is your call. But if you notice that you could have an endangerment of your life, we would suggest holding back on that and looking into this. The goodness that is in your heart, the spirit that is the light of yourself, that is what you are exercising. You are, again, utilizing the power of prayer. You are utilizing the power of intention. And you are performing these good deeds yourself, regardless of what is happening in your environment, which means you are sharing with yourself that you are eager to help. You are sharing with yourself that you are eager to assist those that are having such challenges, and you are simply making yourself available. You're not forcing, but you're keeping your door open. And what this is doing is this is exercising your intention. This is exercising your own intention to helping those in that sense who are having challenging times in this way. And again, you are bringing down the light. And the more that are able to do this, where you're bringing down the light and you are assisting those who are trapped in darkness, the light is going to help them illumine their path. And that path may just lead to you, where you are happy to talk, you are happy to work out, you are happy to negotiate, you are happy to assist those who are struggling. So the whole idea here is if you're living in a neighborhood of darkness, turn the lights on. And you're the light. Just like looking at all of these torches attached to walls, where you simply open up your hand and a beam of light shines upon the head of those torches, and every single one of them light up. So you are being the light for that neighborhood. You are being the light for that area. And it can come through that intention. It can come through that prayer. It can come through that meditative transformation. And it can come through you acting upon your intention, just letting others know that you are here, that they can talk to you, that your door is open. You are not being forceful, but you are being inviting. That is what we would suggest you try. You work with that and see exactly what results will come. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay. That is very true. Okay. So guys, if you know that your neighborhood is just getting more and more vicious, more and more violent, because we are going to be doing kind of a group meditation with that here very, very shortly, just to helping people with their neighborhoods, with their areas, looking into people that they feel are suffering, even if it's someone that maybe you just got introduced to, right? You're sending your blessings to them. That is the meditation. That is the practice. That is the exercise we're going to be doing here today in just about a few minutes' time. Okay. And it's just offering that light. You're offering your light to others. Okay. Now, like I said, what we're not doing is we're not going in and we're not enforcing people. We're not trying to bait them or anything of that nature. All you're doing is you're kind of having a nice, natural conversation with someone, and you hear something about them where they're struggling, right? Maybe you want to give them a hug. Maybe you want to say, hey, I'm here for you. My door is open. If you want to come talk to me, I'm happy to help you. Okay. Can you imagine the amazing world that this would be when a lot more of us are doing that, right? You're going throughout your neighborhood and you see quite a bit of chaotic energies happening. You can see a lot of conflict happening. You can see a lot of fighting happening. I mean, I basically had that in my dream last night, where I was basically seeing people at each other's throats, and I would just come in and I would intervene and just attempting to bring peace to the whole situation, right? That was my dream. And now it feels like it's coming out here in the awoken world, right? But again, if so many of us do this, that is going to leave such an incredible impression. And that is giving you the example of the type of world that you want to live in. Do you want to live in a world where there's chaos, where there's conflict, where there's people fighting all the time, and nobody's really doing anything? They're just basically minding their own business. Well, in a sense, that's not minding your own business. That is allowing the ensuing of chaos to happen. We're not saying that you need to go right in and pull them apart or in that nature. Give them a blessing. Right? This has actually happened to me in the past when I'd go on vacation. I went to Banff and I was checking into a lodge. And then there was this German couple that were outside, kind of like a young man, a young woman. And they were arguing, they were throwing each other's bags on the ground, and they were shoving each other. And all I did is I just projected my intention into there and said, let cooler heads prevail. That's all I said, right? I was just getting them to feel like that energetic settling down, right? Cutting away all the cords of aggression just by saying that one statement, let cooler heads prevail. About 30 seconds later, they stopped. They stopped fighting. They brought their bags back into their vehicle. I think they had a Jeep, right? And they got into their truck. They slowly pulled out. They weren't speeding off or anything like that, and they left graciously. Okay? True story. This is what I'm talking about, guys, is that when you're noticing that there is disarray around you, when you're noticing that there is chaos around you, when you know there is fighting and anger and aggression all around you, just intervene with the power of spirit behind you, okay? And all that is just say, Spirit, be with me. Spirit, be with me. Let spirit come upon them. Let cooler heads prevail, right? Or however it is that you want to term it, okay? And it works. This is exactly what I do. And I've had a couple of those altercations, just seeing people in that sense. And I just say, let cooler heads prevail. And all of that inflammation just dies out. And it dies out within seconds. And all I do, guys, is as I talk about, I'm a vessel for spirit. And that's what you have to be, right? If you're trying to say something with an ego, you're trying, oh, come on, stop fighting, stop fighting. That's not going to help. You're adding fuel to the fire with your thoughts, okay? You need to go within. You need to feel spirit within you. Spirit, be with me. Through the power of spirit, let cooler heads prevail between these two. And it happens. And it gets snuffed out, right? I've seen it. I've done it several times already. So this is what I'm talking about, is that you're going within yourself, you're casting your inner light outwards, and you're shining that light, and that completely absorbs the aggression. The aggression just gets sucked right out of them, and they now lose the will to fight. They lose the will to try to harm each other. They lose the will to try to hurt, and what comes into place is understanding, right? What comes together is a meshing, right? They may not want to be buddy-buddy, but the hostilities cease and a truce happens. And like I said, this is exactly how what you can do to help out. Like I said, go inside the heart, go inside the soul, right? Exercise the heart, exercise the soul, exercise the spirit, exercise your light, right? Spirit, be with me. Through the power of spirit, let cooler heads prevail. And you'll see it happen. It's an amazing thing. When you genuinely go there, you will know these things, right? It's a wonderful thing. So Laurie, very, very good question. Okay, so I hope that helps with what Adronis has shared about, again, the power of prayer, the power of intention, the power of meditation, and again, shining your light. Okay, let's go down. We're going to probably take about 1 or 2 more questions. Then we're going to go into that meditation I talked about. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so Jen, I can basically tell you some things about your question and some things I can't, because I have not read the Troyan Saga books, so there's no point in me bringing Adronis about that. I haven't read it. See, whatever I don't touch, guys, I have no familiarity as a conduit to talk about that, right? So I'm not too sure what the Troyan Saga books is, but I can tell you about the other part, right? The author talks about a time machine going back to the time of Jesus, claiming to be real. How true the saga is. You can't really do that. Okay, it's not really within human capability. I mean, if we're looking at a fictional story, then sure. Okay, but nonfiction, no, can't really do that, because again, you would have to be traveling thousands and thousands and thousands of light years to get back into the time of Jesus, and we really don't even have machines for that right now. They're kind of locked in vaults, and there's not a lot of access to them. They've certainly have tried to do that. But that's basically what would represent the idea of moving from different lines of time, or dimensional lines, as Adronis has always put it, and saying that I could go back and look at a time of Jesus. Well, what you're looking at is you're looking at kind of like a mirror reality. It's not really on your timeline. Okay, that's the thing in regards to time travel. Many people just think here's A and here's B and here's the one line. No. Doesn't work that way. You are looking at a bundle of lines, a bundle of strings that represent different dimensional lines, and you are basically traveling thousands and thousands and thousands of light years, going into a certain line, dimensional theme that may represent the time of Jesus. But this is not even on your own native line. Okay, your own native line is completely surpassed. You're in this bundle where it's a completely different dimensional line altogether. It no longer becomes native, it becomes derelict, right? You're aligning to a derelict timeline. That derelict timeline would represent something foreign, something in that sense that does not happen within the theme of your own experiences through your native line or your alpha line, right? So rather than going on your alpha line, your beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, right? Maybe you're going all the way down to zeta, okay? That doesn't work. And I've heard from a lot of people who claim to be time travelers and their stuff is not even close to being accurate, right? And basically in that sense, it's not to say it's not really accurate. It's just the idea that they're going to different lines. They're going to different dimensional lines. They're going to derelict lines. And they are looking at all of these different things that do not have corroboration together with the themes that we're exploring, right? And this happens all the time in dream time, my friends, right? You're going across throughout your psyche to different dimensional lines. You're going to different derelict lines that are not native to what you would understand as your life, just to have these experiences, right? So now, is it possible that we can have the knowledge of those thousands of years brought into us clearly to witness? Yes. Do we have the technology for that? To my knowledge, no. Okay. A person who was quite close to it was a fellow by the name of George Van Tassel. Okay. He basically developed not really a time machine, but basically you could say like a time screen, where basically he would look at many of these old transmissions, right, going back into the times of Hitler or his Nuremberg speeches, and it would be as crisp and clear as HD quality, right? That's the idea, is that you're basically learning to work with the Akasha, right? You're working with the ether, you're working with etheric technology, where you don't have to hop in some machine, time machine, and try to go back into those lines, because you'll never be able to do that. You'll never be able to go into your own alpha lines time. We don't have the technology for that. But what you can do is you can work together with the air. You can work together with the prana. You can work together with the akasha. You can work together with the etheric perturbations of the universe. And if you know exactly what you're tuning into, you could basically see a clear, crisp picture of Jesus giving a Sermon on the Mount, just as if it was HD quality. Okay, that's what we're capable of. To my knowledge, like I said, only one person was very, very close to that, and that was George Van Tassel, right? But no, a lot of these books are basically just fictional. Okay, I've heard a lot about people claiming that they go back into time and they go into these other realms and they're saying, okay, I'm looking at the year 3255 and all this stuff is happening. Okay, well, in some dimension that is happening. That does not mean that that's going to correlate with your alpha timeline. Okay, that's what people don't understand. They just think that time travel is just like this, that it's a single string, when it's not. You're looking at a bundle of strings. Another thing you could look at is kind of like a beehive, right? With all of these different honeycombs here, and all of them have different themes of reality, and you're basically running around the entire grid looking at all of these different dimensional lines, derelict lines that are not in association together with your own alpha line, right? They become beta lines, gamma lines, delta lines, epsilon lines, etc. What that means is that they represent different corroborations of themes being expressed through that particular reality. And it's not the reality that you're familiar with, therefore it will not touch your alpha line, right? That's why I say that time travel in that way would be pretty much useless, because all you're doing is you're intersecting together with other different dimensional lines that are not corroborating together with your own alpha line. And it's not going to have the same experiences in corroboration to the themes that are being explored within your alpha line matrix. Okay? So that's why I say a lot of these things of time travel is pretty much bunk. It's not to say we can't do it, but you're just going into other dimensions that have nothing to do with this one, right? And you're basically wasting your time. So that's the whole idea, is to stay apparent with the alpha line. And you can work together through other means about working with the Akasha, about working with etheric technology, and perhaps in time we will have that, where you can actually go into any particular form of this timeline and looking into true history, right? And it's nothing made up. It's not from a person's perspective. It's something you're actually getting from the memory intelligence of the ethers contained within air. Okay, air contains memory, and that air is something that we have breathed since the beginning of our time, right? And that air transmits, and that air is able to transmit that energy. And if you have, again, the appropriate device to tune into the vibration, you can actually make it visual. You can actually make it audible. You can also feel like it's a hologram directly in front of you. And you can have that information. Air has been here the longest, and air has that capability of transmission. Why do you think that we have broadcast stations that keep saying we're on the air, right? It's on the air right now. Okay, here we are. We're broadcasting through the airwaves. You think they're just saying that for fun, guys? Air contains memory, just like water does, right? And air has been through everything. If you're able to tune into the appropriate vibrations of certain events that take place, you will discover that you can actually look at historical events with great accuracy that do not come from a human perspective, but the perspective of nature itself. Who knows how long that will take for us to get that? But that, again, is a technology that exists, far greater than primitive time travel machines. Okay, so there you go. Take that for what it's worth. All right. Okay. All right. I think we'll end with Carol Ann's question here before we get into the meditation. So Carol Ann says, hello, Brad. Have a question for Adronis. What is his opinion of going to psychics? Thank you. Well, that's a very broad question, Carol Ann. All right. But we'll take a look at it. Okay. One moment. We thank you very much, Carol Ann, for your question. Now, the whole idea is we're not really giving you opinions of things because, again, opinions don't really matter. All right. So, again, what happens is many of you form opinions of things and you just want other people's opinions. You want opinions from others. And this actually leads you into much more of a trap than it does to liberation. So we're not here anytime to give you opinions. We're here to give you perspective. What's the difference between a perspective and an opinion? Perspective does not have bias. Perspective comes from a neutral standpoint. It is looking at something in regards to what is being seen, and it is not speculating to something that it is not. And that's what an opinion does. Opinion gives speculation to something that may or may not be there, and it is dirtied by the idea of a personal interpretation or a personal experience or personal emotional contamination. And that's not what we're here to do for you. So, not an opinion, just a perspective. All right? Now, when you talk about the idea of going to a psychic, well, again, as Brad states, this is a very broad question. You firstly have to ask yourself, what is it that the psychic itself is going to reveal to me that I am not? And you want to be aware of this. Are you able to find the answer yourself? If you are not able to find the answer yourself, then you may want to go and visit a medium. You may want to go and visit a psychic in that sense. Have you looked into this psychic? Have you looked into everything that they are capable of? Have you seen exactly about the idea of what they represent? Have you tuned into them and you have a good feeling about them? You're tuning into your heart. You say, okay, this is a psychic who I may feel I connect with well. And you listen to your heart and you go to that person and you have a wonderful experience with that person, yes. Whereas one who is experiencing haste and just wants to get an answer and doesn't follow their heart, just goes to some run-of-the-mill psychic and basically nothing is really being shared that is of any value. So again, we could give you thousands of different perspectives of these scenarios themselves. But the first thing you need to ask yourself is, am I capable of discovering this answer through myself? And if I feel that I cannot, then I'm just going to trust my instinct. And if I decide to go to a medium, a psychic, a healer, or anything of that nature, I'm going to let the heart guide me. It's that good feeling of confirmation. I look at a person's picture. I see that they're a psychic. There's a good feeling that's coming inside of me. I will act on it. That's really what it comes down to. Let your heart do the deciding. Let your heart show you through the feelings that this may be someone who can help you tremendously because you're not willing to get the information yourself. And that's really all it is. It's not even looking at psychics. It's looking at anybody in general. It's like looking at anything that represents an externality. You're not willing to get the information yourself, so you need to go elsewhere to get information. And so again, when that information you feel is not coming through, we still ask you to tune in, to have that feel-good feeling, to listen to synchronicity. Because synchronicity may pop someone right in front of you that you probably didn't even know that they were a psychic. But you bumped into them, you had a nice conversation, all of a sudden they revealed that to you. And there's the blessing. You see? Let the heart guide you. Let it help you to discover the answer you wish to discover if you're not willing to get it with yourself. Synchronicity will come, that good feeling will come, act upon it, regardless of the profession that the person may be in. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay. Very good. Thank you, everybody, for all of your questions. We're now going to move on to the final part now, which is the meditation exercise. So this, again, is like I was talking about earlier. We're looking at the idea of helping our neighborhood, helping out people in that way. So this is kind of the special meditation, right? We could basically refer to this as the service to others meditation, okay? So all I want you to do, for those of you who want to participate, okay, is if you're seated in a chair, keep your spine nice and straight, okay? Swallow your saliva. Okay, and we're just going to focus on what's known as the Rachaka breath, okay? Not heart rate variability, but the Rachaka breath. So breathing in for 4 seconds, breathing out for 8, okay? Breathing in for 4, breathing out for 8, okay? We're going to do that a few times now. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last one, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Relax. And I want you just to feel the sensations as you're breathing in naturally and breathing out naturally. And just let that wave of calmness come over you. Whether you feel that your hands are tingling, your spine is tingling, your skin is tingling, these are all perfectly natural sensations of you moving much more into the tranquility of yourself. Okay. And I want you now just to go through your memory and be aware of anybody who you feel could really use help right now. They are struggling, they are fighting, they're in chaos, they're in conflict. It could be a family member, it could be a friend. It may be someone who maybe you just met recently, where you feel that they're struggling, they're fighting, they're having all kinds of difficulties. And you can just feel like there's just this wave of confusion, there's this wave of anxiety, there's this wave of aggression that may be around them. I want you just to be aware of that. Okay, so we're not focusing on you right now. We're focusing on others. This is the service to others meditation. Okay, and I want you just to feel that person. I want you just to imagine like you can go inside their heart and you can feel what they're going through. Some of you may already have this ability, that you have that deep empathic ability to get a feeling about what they're going through, the hardships that they're going through. But I just want you to focus on one person for now. Don't worry about focusing on a group. Okay, choose one person within your memory who you feel could really use assistance right now, who you feel in that sense they've really gone into deep extremes and they just need help coming back. Okay, and with that person in mind, I want you just to take your hand and just put it upon your heart. Okay, and I want you just to speak to your heart, just telling yourself you are aligning to the goodness of your heart. I am aligning to the goodness of my heart. I am aligning to the power of spirit. I feel the light of spirit all around me. I feel the light of spirit all around me. And let the light of spirit shine upon this person. Just feel yourself giving that light. And that very light that forms around you as you see it, let yourself see it forming around that person exactly the same. All of this beautiful spirit light that is shining upon you right now, that you can feel, that you may see, just intended for that spirit light to shine, to radiate exactly the same upon that person. And you're just letting spirit do the work. You are not intervening. Spirit is doing the work here. And you are just letting that light shine upon that person. Just as you see it filling yourself, the entirety of your body, let it shine exactly the same upon that person. All of that goodness that you feel, the spirit light right now, that is bringing you into calmness, that is bringing you into happiness, that is bringing you into such joy, let it be the same for that person. Watch them react as the spirit light comes upon them. Just as you feel that tranquility and love and bliss of the spirit light, watch them react and having the exact same experience. See them reacting so beautifully to this light that is now surrounding them. Watch them as their conflicts now start to soften. As they feel this powerful wave of love and joy and compassion that shrouds their being now. Watch their demeanor change. Watch them actually smile. They don't have an explanation for why they smile, but the smile is there nonetheless. They don't have an explanation of why they feel that their problems are gone, but they are. Because spirit has made the difference. Spirit is softening them. Spirit is lightening them up. They are still who they are. They are still going through their challenges. They are still going through their issues. But in this moment, it doesn't matter. It's the light of spirit. It's the love of spirit. It's that tranquility that they're feeling. And it's a reminder. All you have to do is give all of your conflicts to me. Give your conflicts to the light of spirit. Spirit will absorb it. Spirit will completely neutralize it. And this will give you the clean slate. This will completely tranquilize the karmic actions that have led to despair, and now open a door of opportunity for new experiences to be born if you follow the light. If you know that the light is there, if you feel it within yourself, let your actions be dictated by the heart. Let it be dictated by the soul. Let it be dictated by the spirit. And let that light that you see be your guide. Let all of this come upon that person that you are seeing through your memory right now. Through their demeanor changing, through their mannerisms changing, through that smile on their face that is now there. Intend that through the purest strength of yourself for them. Let that be done now. Let it be done now for them. All right. Let's take one deep breath in. Deep breath out. And feel that light all around you still there, but now it's just softening and transitioning itself back into the background. But you know that it is still there. Okay. This is exactly what you can do for others. Okay. All you're doing is you're tuning into your goodness. You're tuning into your love. You're tuning into your joy. You're turning into your grace, and say, all the graciousness that is being given to me in this moment, let it be bestowed onto them. Right. And then just put that intention out to the purest strength possible and see what happens. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today for the Wisdom Transmissions Gathering. I'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time for, I think it'll be 9:30. Let me just double check my calendar with that. I think I do have some time on at 9 o'clock, but I'm just going to double check my calendar, make sure everything is good with that. I don't want to jump the gun, but I'm looking for 9 o'clock. Let's see. Tomorrow, yep, 9 o'clock. Okay, 9 o'clock is good. So I will be on again at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for the Signpost Live. Okay, so I'll be taking some more Q&A there. Current events, feel free to join me. That will too be on Rumble and YouTube. Thank you guys for joining me today. I will see you tomorrow. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaskar. May it be well with you, and take care. Bye for now.